A bullet ended the life of 38-year-old Joan Davenport, a woman who lived here in the 3600 block of Reisterstown Road. Neighbors say she cleaned houses for a living and kept to herself. But that changed yesterday afternoon at about 4:30. That's when she started firing a rifle out the window. Police tried to talk her out of the house throughout the evening, but nothing happened until 7:30 this morning. That's when Davenport came outside and shot twice at police officers. A sharpshooter fired back. The bullet struck her face and killed her.
Our training and our policy is whenever we have to defend ourselves by firing a weapon, we fire for the zone that has the most effect in stopping the person from injuring anyone further. And that's exactly what we did in this situation.
Shoot to kill?
That's always our policy.
A policy neighbors called brutal.
They could have did something else besides shooting her. I mean, they could have sent tear gas in it like they said. They just shot her. I feel bad about it.
But Davenport kept shooting out windows. One bullet hit a window in the house next door. Luckily, Rachel Wells left last night.
We was home. We could have, one of the kids or me or my brother, you know, we could have got it.
City police say they wish Davenport would have surrendered peacefully, but that just didn't happen. Officers feel they followed proper procedure. Now the Homicide Department and City State's Attorney's Office will investigate and make their own conclusions. In Northwest Baltimore, Vicki Cox, Channel 2 News.
Not begin until all of the individual dwelling units are finished. The leader of a group which has been trying for years to restore one of the city's oldest black churches is hoping she may finally be getting somewhere. Marguerite Campbell wants to turn the 100-year-old Orchard Street Church in Seton Hill into a museum of black history, and now she's counting on the city's first black mayor to do it. Channel 2's Joan Gartland reports on this 15-year effort.
Most people know the old Orchard Street Church in Seton Hill from driving down Martin Luther King Boulevard. The once beautiful church, built by black slaves, now stands out like a sore thumb in a neighborhood that has otherwise been rebuilt and renovated. Groups who want to restore the historic landmark say it was once a stop on the Underground Railroad. And although historians dispute it, they believe this hole in the basement may have been a tunnel used to hide slaves. For 15 years, supporters have been trying to get the city and private donors to turn the building into a museum of black history, but they haven't gotten very far. Supporters of renovating the church and turning it into a black history museum say in the past it has not been a high priority for the city. Also, that it's often gotten tied up in politics. They're hoping that will change with the election of the city's first black mayor.
I believe that the new leadership wants to continue what has been started by the earlier politicians in this city, and I think we're going to move along with it.
Marguerite Campbell, chairwoman of the Committee to Preserve the Orchard Street Church Museum, says a local developer, Struver Brothers Eccles and Strauss, has put together a $5.5 million plan to turn the church into an office building and museum. But she says they'll need a loan from the city and the promise of a tenant before they can go through with it. Also, she says she needs to raise at least another $30,000 in donations to be able to furnish and run the museum. She'll meet with a member of the new Kurt Schmoke administration this week to see if she can get the developer and the city together. In the meantime, neighbors say they just want to see something done.
We don't care what it is practically as long as it's restored or renovated. You know, it's a blight. Everybody else here is working very hard to restore their houses, and then we see this thing. It's an eyesore.
In Seton Hill, Joan Gartland, Channel 2 News.
For 4 years, this building was home to the Department of Economic and Community Development. But when Governor Schaefer took over and reorganized state government, he merged DECD with Employment and Training in Baltimore. So now, the new Department of Economic and Employment Development is planning to move to Baltimore.
So it really was a decision to try to get everybody together in one area rather than having the department spend lots of time burning up the Ritchie Highway.
The new home will be here in Redwood Towers. The new space will cost over $700,000 a year, but it's hoped its location will help with the mission of bringing new business to Baltimore. It will also mean 150 employees will have to commute or find new jobs. A few already have.
Do you live in Annapolis?
Yes.
What do you think about that commute?
Oh, not too good, especially when I only live like 5 minutes away from here. No, but I have commuted to Baltimore before, and I lived in Annapolis.
I mean, there have been a number of people in our department who have chosen to seek employment elsewhere in other areas of state government here in Annapolis. Some have gone to work for Anne Arundel County.
But that move has concerned some people in Annapolis, including the mayor, who says Annapolis is the capital of the state, and it should be headquartered here.
We were designed to be the capital of the state of Maryland. It's more than tradition. It's a very efficient function. You can come to one consolidated location and visit virtually any agency that you have to meet with within the state.
But Secretary Evans says the move doesn't signal any shifting of power away from Annapolis. In fact, he says, the old office space will be taken by the new Department of Housing and Community Development. Perhaps it will be, as one DEED employee put it today, the laws will be passed in Annapolis, but the deals, they'll be made in Baltimore. In Annapolis, Brad Bell, Channel 2 News.
The move news opening arguments today in the trial of Michael and Clarence Mitchell. The state senator and his brother are charged with accepting $110,000 to obstruct a congressional investigation. Channel 2's Joan Garland has been in the courthouse today, and she joins us live with day one of the trial. Joan.
Sally, prosecutors here today say Michael and Clarence Mitchell were hired to grease the wheels for a New York defense contractor called WedTech when that contractor ran into problems with a congressional committee. The committee was headed by their uncle, former 7th District Congressman Perrin Mitchell.
All right.
The Mitchells were smiling when they arrived at federal court this morning. They have vehemently denied all of the charges against them. In opening arguments today, Assistant U.S. Attorney Gary Jordan told jurors witnesses would testify that the Mitchell brothers were approached by WedTech because they were told if anyone could get to Perrin Mitchell, it would be his nephews. At the time, Perrin Mitchell's Small Business Committee was questioning whether WedTech, a defense contractor in the South Bronx, was a true minority contractor and eligible for millions of dollars it was receiving in minority defense contracts. The prosecutor said Michael and Clarence Mitchell told the WedTech officers they were confident they could take care of the investigation, but would have to be paid $50,000 to start. The money was paid, eventually $110,000. But Jordan says there's no indication the Mitchell brothers ever said anything to their uncle, and Perrin Mitchell is not accused of any wrongdoing. Clarence Mitchell's attorney, Abby Lowell, told the jurors the nephews never promised to try and influence their uncle. The money from WedTech they considered a legal fee in the form of a check with a written contract or legal retainer. It was all on paper, he said. They weren't trying to cover up anything. Besides, Lowell said the Mitchells thought WedTech was a great company. Just weeks before, President Reagan had praised the company's Hispanic president as a hero for the 80s.
Some of the older buildings and construction of replacements, and for an increase in rehabilitation training for inmates. It all started when Governor Schaefer toured the House of Corrections in Jessup several weeks ago.
What are you going to do about the House of Corrections? First of all, it's been allowed to just have a downhill, down spiral for years.
Rutherford B. Hayes was President of the United States when Maryland's House of Corrections was opened. The Civil War had ended only 15 years when they began moving prisoners into what is now the second oldest corrections facility in the state. Part of the Corrections Department's $500 million plan is to replace a good portion of the House of Corrections. The medium security prison is overcrowded and just plain old.
The first step is to convince the legislature that the money should be spent and that the $500 million will be better spent within the Corrections Department than with other departments of state government. That's a process that has already begun and one that will be heavily debated during the next session of the General Assembly.
Prisoners are living in an antiquated building with a noise level that would drive most of us to distraction. It is overcrowded. There are 800 cells, but more than 1,500 inmates. That means double celling and, worse yet, dormitories of 100 or more prisoners. The prison guards don't like the dormitories because the men are hard to control. The inmates don't like them because there is no privacy and there is danger from fellow inmates. At the House of Corrections, there are 7 dormitories like this, with about 100 men in each of them. The long-range plan at Jessup is to build a new facility with modern cell blocks, but that'll take money, lots of it. We have learned that the Corrections Department is putting together a 5-year, $500 million plan to modernize their entire system. No one would talk to us on camera about the long-range program, but we have learned that of major concern are new figures that show that more than half the inmates go through their entire stay in a prison without any kind of training.
It's a new concept, a new idea on how to handle prisoners rather than when the time is up, they're just dumped out on the street without any preparation on how to go back to society. I think he's going in the right direction. It's going to cost some money.
There will be major emphasis on adding schoolrooms, on shops like these, and on other facilities for rehabilitation. There is also a move to reclassify many of the prisoners, move them from maximum to medium security, so that they will be able to participate in training programs. There is also a plan to get private industry, especially in the Baltimore City area, to help in the rehabilitation and the training of these prisoners, and perhaps even hiring them when they get out. Beverly?
5 years, 5-year plan, that seems to be off in the distance. How quickly can we get to that?
Well, they're talking about starting in next year's capital budget, but there's a lot of work in fixing up Jessup and the Maryland Penitentiary, and some of the older buildings.
Okay, thank you very much, Lou Davis, reporting live from Annapolis. Federal agents have seized Colombian cocaine valued at about $7 million from a Greek-registered ship docked in Baltimore's harbor. Drug enforcement and customs agents seized some of the 30 pounds of cocaine from crewmen of the ship Golden Eagle when they attempted to sell it. The rest was confiscated from the ship itself.
They left the ship and went to a hotel downtown here in Baltimore and met with two white males. And after they met with these people, had some conversations, they went back, started back for the ship, and of course they were under surveillance. And that's when they threw the 2 kilos of cocaine underneath of the car.
The ship was carrying a load of Colombian sugar, which was delivered to the Domino Sugar plant in the Inner Harbor. Federal agents say they were tipped off to the cocaine shipment by agents in Bogota, Colombia. 4 members of the crew, 3 of them from South America, and 3 other men from Houston and Florida have been arrested and are being held without bond in connection with the alleged smuggling ring. Bail has been set for 2 men involved in yesterday's Harford County Middle School vandalism. 2 men, Ronald Wantland of Pennsylvania and James Ware of Port Deposit, remain in custody tonight. They are charged with breaking and entering, theft, and destruction of property. Neither has been able to post the $20,000 bond. Damages at the school are estimated at $10,000. The vandalism was discovered early Monday morning during a routine police check of the school. A broken office window provided the vandals access to the school. Fire extinguishers were sprayed in several classrooms. Food was thrown about, and school equipment was broken, forcing cancellation of yesterday's classes. Residents in a northeast Baltimore neighborhood wanted results, and that's exactly what they got. Last week, Channel 2 News reported on a protest by parents about an unsafe school crossing in the Claremont Homes area. Concerned parents wanted a crossing guard, and today their needs were met. In addition, the city promises road repairs and increased police attention to speeders.
This is where the new baseball and football stadiums will be built if it all goes according to plan, but there will be more than that. Imagine an 85-acre park in this area of downtown Baltimore, with picnic areas and places for children to frolic in the grass while waiting for the games to start. A green oasis surrounding the 2 huge stadiums that will house Baltimore's baseball and football teams. The railroad yards, the businesses, and the warehouses replaced by a new park. That was the plan revealed today by Stadium Authority Chairman Herbert Belgrad as he appeared before the Board of Public Works in Annapolis. Belgrad said he was looking for an architectural firm to plan the park complex.
We're looking for much more than just a bricks and mortar design concept for a stadium. We want to develop it into a family-oriented park with picnic areas so that when families go to the baseball games, they have a place to go before the games with the children to picnic out. And we have space for that. We want the firm to be able to develop the entire complex, the 85 acres, as a part integrated into a redeveloped downtown area.
Belgrad also said he was looking for a public relations firm to develop a presentation for the NFL Expansion Committee, a presentation that would sell Baltimore as a place for a football expansion team. Belgrad said he hoped to raise $500,000 in private money to help pay for the public relations presentation. He said he expected the prospective owners of NFL football teams to pay for that. He also said that negotiations with the Orioles management was going well, and he expected to have a long-term lease negotiated before the end of the year. In Annapolis, Lou Davis, Channel 2 News.